further evidence can be found by examining the stories of a famous sorcerer whose supernatural powers helped to build a mighty nation. Tintagel Island, England, 500 AD. Here, hidden along the rugged Cornwall coastline, is the entrance to a mysterious cave, thought to have housed the great wizard Merlin.
We first see Merlin historically in the writings of Geoffrey of Monmouth. He tells the story of this extraordinary character who most famously shows up during the time period of Arthur. I think that there is this tendency to think of him as the man in the pointed cap and to be a little bit sort of comical or ridiculous, when in fact the real Merlin is a very, very serious and very important character.
According to stories, King Arthur lived around 500 AD, and he was advised by this wise man called Merlin. Merlin is attributed as having all sorts of miraculous powers. He is said to be able to bring lightning down and thunder. He can levitate rocks. He can foresee the future. He can call upon a mist to cover the battlefield.
Merlin seems to have been based on this idea of the Druids. Druids were the sort of religious figures in a lot of this early society. In some cases, we see them associated with the more Celtic warrior groups where they might function as a king's advisor. Druids appear as very magical and having various other ways that they could interact with the supernatural world for the benefit of the mundane world.
There is a manuscript in the British Library called the Annals Cambrai, which means the Welsh Annals, and in there it refers to a man by the name of Merlin living in a forest somewhere in the north. And the way it refers to this Merlin is it could very well be the same Merlin as the Merlin in the stories of Arthur.
According to legend, it is Merlin who was the mastermind behind a plan which would unite the various kingdoms of Britain into one nation, capable of fending off invasion by Saxon forces. He launches a quest to install the young Arthur as king, using his formidable powers.
Merlin is stage managing the union of Britain from before the time Arthur is conceived. He essentially manipulates things so that Arthur can be born in a way that has royal blood, but he does not grow up in a castle, which was a dangerous place for a divinely ordained leader to be. He was able to be a tutor to Arthur in his childhood, teach him ways of nature.
He makes him king by getting Arthur to perform all sorts of feats that no one else can do, like drawing the sword from the stone. And it seems that he wants to make Arthur into a sort of immortal figure in the eyes of the people, so that they will readily follow him and make him their one and only king. In other words, Merlin is the authority, really, the advisor behind the throne.
Did Merlin use supernatural or otherworldly knowledge to empower Arthur? And, in so doing, create the British Empire? But why? And who, or what, was Merlin? Ancient astronaut theorists believe clues can be found in the strange circumstances surrounding Merlin's birth.
The birth of Merlin is a miraculous tale. His mother was a nun, a virgin, who has a steamy erotic dream, and she wakes up just knowing she is pregnant. So, Merlin's father could have been an incubus. That would be a dark angel, one of the devil's legion, a monstrous figure who, in this case, came and had sex with innocent women while they slept in their dreams.
The most common legends about Merlin say that he got his powers through this demonic father. Merlin was baptized and the demonic nature melted away, but he maintained all of the magic from the demon father.
When we're confronted by the story of Merlin, we're looking at a medieval figure who is possibly another example of an otherworldly being who is half human, half extraterrestrial, and that he in fact is a representative of this long line of otherworldly beings.
This is the real core of British history. It's very revered. It doesn't seem that someone just made this up out of nowhere. It could be that the stories help cover up the truth, which was that human extraterrestrial contact did occur, that Merlin was actually an extraterrestrial being who was sent here to help King Arthur establish his kingdom, and that Merlin's advanced capabilities might be nothing more than the use of technology that he had available to him.
Is it possible that Merlin had what many believe to have been otherworldly origins? If so, might his magic really have been based not on occult forces, but on advanced extraterrestrial technology? London, 1966. The British Museum acquires an unusual Aztec artifact thought to possess magical powers. Known as the Devil's Looking Glass, this mirror, made of black volcanic glass, once belonged to the influential 16th century scholar John Dee. Dee was a respected mathematician, astrologer, and close advisor to Queen Elizabeth I. He was also considered to be a powerful magician and claimed he used the mirror to communicate with angels.
John Dee was a famous magician in the Elizabethan period in England. Probably the most famous Renaissance mage, at least from England from that time. And he became very obsessed with trying to conjure angels. Later magical practitioners start to refer to it as Enochian magic.
John Dee believed that there was an angelic language, that there was a sound, a real sound, not just a concept, a voice that the universe spoken, that the angels, that those with supreme knowledge had their very, very own language. And he was trying to tap into that.
Dee believes this information was given to him because God originally wanted it to go to mankind throughout all of time. This Enochian magic was given to man before, but has been lost throughout the ages. God originally gave it to Adam, the legend goes, and then to the prophet Enoch, and maybe to others in between.
Did early magicians like John Dee really have access to extraterrestrial technology? Technology that was mistakenly believed to be of a supernatural or divine origin.
In the ancient world, magicians were religious specialists whose job was to interact with the spirit world on behalf of their social group. Their job was really to communicate with the sacred in order to bring about real and lasting change here on Earth.
Centers of power would have magicians. The courts of the time, whether a king, a Caesar, or a pharaoh, would have viziers, wizards, magicians, advising them, protecting them, using their secret powers to heal, to guide in battle. It was an important part of leadership in ancient times. These figures had enormous power and enormous influence, not only helping a leader, but helping a country stay together.
Is it possible that the early practitioners of what we call magic were really individuals in possession of advanced extraterrestrial knowledge? Knowledge that could change the course of human history. Ancient astronaut theorists believe that such an audacious notion is, in fact, possible, and believe further evidence may be found in the legends of a mysterious device, one so powerful it could make its user disappear. Dallas, Texas, 2011. Researchers at the University of Texas's Nanotech Institute discover a process that can actually make objects invisible. These scientists spin tiny carbon fibers into sheets and submerge them into water. An electrical charge heats the material and changes the way the surrounding water bends light, making an object appear to vanish at the turn of a switch.
We are not actually seeing around the object we're cloaking. What we're doing is we're using the heated carbon nanotube sheet to bend light. So when we think we're looking in a particular direction, we're actually looking at neighboring seawater. We're using very extraordinary materials to accomplish our mirage cloaking.
But as innovative as this remarkable technology is, stories of devices with similar powers can be found throughout history. Serifos, Greece. It was here, on this tiny island in the Aegean Sea, the ancient Greeks believed the hero Perseus set off on a seemingly impossible mission to kill the fearsome Gorgon, Medusa.
So Perseus had this incredible challenge because Medusa was powerful, and you just look at her and die. So it is a true dangerous situation for the hero.
According to mythology, Perseus is given a magical helmet that ultimately ensures his success. Called the Helm of Darkness, the cap belonged to Hades, the god of the underworld.
Perseus goes on this adventure with the help of